Hello everyone. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. In this video, we'll be reviewing kung ano yung nangyari sa Game 3 hanggang Game 7 ng Philippine National Games. And it has been a little over a month since the Philippine National Games has concluded, and since hindi ko pa nagagawa ng video on what happened on those remaining games, ay gagawin natin yan, and hopefully magawa ko siya till the end, and hopefully magawin ko rin ng video yung isang instance on which I played at 2264 rated, and hopefully makita natin on how the game went. Without further ado, tingnan na natin kung ano yung nangyari sa game 3. And in here, I was black, and white played e4, and I played c5, the Sicilian defense. And after white plays knight f3, I played g6, which is the accelerated dragon. So this is one of the openings that I prepared sa black before the event, and this characterizes ang bishop pupunta sa g7 because obviously dahil nag g6 tayo, and if mag-open Sicilian siya playing d4, then we'll happily capture, and then we'll control the diagonal. And after sa middle game, magiging malaking role ng dark square bishop, and after castle is fairly decent yung setup na meron ng black. So after g6, white plays d4, we take capture, and here isang line to na ginagawa ng white, in which black cannot play bishop g7 right away. So ang mga linya natin dito is very limited. Di tayo makapag knight c6 because queen will take on h8. So in order to block the diagonal, first ay mag-knight f6 tayo, and which I played. So after knight f6, job to mate, may natawag. Okay, so let's continue. After knight f6, very obviously hindi ba siguro question mo or question ko rin, hindi ba e5 is better for white, and after ma-dislodge ang black knight is magkakaroon ng problema ang black sa diagonal na to. So after that, which happened in the game, I believe, tama ba? Oh yeah, e5 ang sagot dito sa theory. And I believe may advantage ang black dito, kaya ito yung pinipili ko na mga openings. Hindi man obvious, pero black has a little advantage. So ang theory dito is knight c6. So ignoring the threat ng knight f6, e5 to knight f6, ay kina-counter threat natin ang queen on d4, and if he takes, obviously, kainin na natin yung d4 queen. So, in this position, gumalaw ang queen. Nag-isip na matagal, tanda ko dito, yung kalaban ko. Maybe 5 minutes or less. Pero queen a4 is the best move here. And this equals the game. So, drawish na in this position. So, knight d5, dahil may threat dun sa f6, and then bishop f4, c4. Bishop c4 here, as I recall, made me think more, maybe 10 minutes, dahil I was thinking, dahil ang pupuntahan ng knight na to obviously is knight b6, pero knight b6 here, if I recall correctly, kinakalculate ko yung knight b6, bishop takes f7, now bakit ko inisip na this is possible, because after this I was thinking na here, and very suspicious na yung position ng black. So after knight g5, very tender yung knight sa yung square na f7, lalo na kapag bumalik siya dyan, then bumalik ako dito sa e8, then it is very losing. So here matatrap yung rook ko, and I was thinking that this was not the way to go. Pero if we would look at the engine, it is -2. What the engine suggests is queen g8, if knight g4 ay magna-knight queen e8 lang, even if very undeveloped and very suspicious yung laro, yung rook ko. There's a 3-point advantage, sabi ng engine, but hindi naman ako engine, so I did not go to that path. Pero seeing that there's no alternative, I said na okay, nakita ko na walang checkmate sa after ng queen f4, so I played knight b6 anyway, and to my surprise, hindi niya nilaro yung bishop takes f7. He just played queen b3, so I take on c4 and he retakes. And in this position, I know na dahil overextended yung e5 pawn, I have more chances of taking the initiative after bishop g7. As I was saying, yung main theme ng ating opening, which is the accelerated dragon, maybe it is hyper accelerated because I played g6 right away. Pero back to the point, after yung bishop g7, he plays bishop f4, which was a blunder, sabi ni Stockfish, dahil in this position may game na ako recently before pa this event na I knew that the winning move was d6, but for some reason ay hindi ko na-recall, and I was thinking between the move queen a5, d6 and castling, dahil I was afraid una nung kinonsider ko yung d6, I was afraid of opening up the center, but nasa gitna pa yung king ko, and even if nasa gitna pa yung king niya, I was skeptical that on the calculations na gagawin ko dun sa position na to ay baka lalong magulo, and I will fail to castle. So before castling or before playing d6, I decided na I'll hit the e5 pawn first on the most safest way possible, and then here I played queen a5 with check. So this serves to be a check while it hits the e5 pawn. So here my opponent plays queen c3, willfully pinning his own queen on this diagonal, and I know na kapag nag-take out dito sa c3, but it might have been the best move, ay magde-develop lang siya ng knight on c3. So I was thinking of going back on e8, d8, but it would have been counterproductive, and b6 would have been met by bishop e3, and it would have been just going back and forth dito sa tatlong squares na to. So I willfully pinned my own queen gaya ng ginawa niya, and played queen c7. So mapansin nyo, if this pawn moves, it will open the discovery between both our queens. So very carefully lang na nilaro namin to, and after he plays queen d2, opening up his options kung mag-castle siya queenside, castle kingside, hindi niya pa sinasabi. But here I played castle kingside because it would make no sense if I try to castle queenside. And after he castles kingside, I played d6, and he captures, and point of this is to open up this diagonal to undermine yung center niya in the expense of having an isolated queen pawn and having my pawn pinned, having my pawn pinned to my queen. So after he moves his queen to queen a3, hitting my pawn on d6, I play knight e5, he plays queen rooks ac1, and this signals na gusto niyang i-open up yung C file. So I made calculations and planned na okay, I'll reinforce my my d pawn, and then I can move my my queen pawn, my queen in the defense of this pawn. So after this, c4, queen b6, and then he plays queen, and he plays c5. So in this position, I was thinking, oy, meron ako ditong queen sacrifice that I can make. Queen takes b2. If he takes, I can just take the knight with check and then recapture the queen on b2 by my g7 knight, g7 bishop. Pero better daw, sabi ni Engine, is in here we have a 1 point lead or advantage. Better if I have taken this with the knight first. Sabi ni Engine, although it is 0.5, sa depth 19 is may advantage in black, but it's not too obvious. So after daw the knight takes f3, we could have taken with bishop instead of taking immediately with the queen, which I made dahil I don't know, it looks cooler siguro. So I took with the queen, and after recaptures, I played knight takes f3, plays knight takes f3, and then I recaptured with the bishop. So after this, malapit na sa endgame, but it's still drawish. He plays rook c2, threatening my bishop. Since my bishop doesn't belong there, punta tayo sa a3, and then after bishop takes d6, I play developing my bishop on f5, and at the same time hitting the rook on c2. After bishop rook c3, I play bishop b4 b2, which in retrospect dapat ay nag bishop b4 na lang ako, and so that I could have went bishop a5, and then makabalik sana ako dito sa diagonal to after this rook moves. Pero I was thinking of going back to this diagonal dahil it would have reinforced the defense of my king. And then after this, I na-miss ko yung rook move that forks the rook and that forks the bishop and the pawn. So in this line, if nag bishop b4 ako, I could have played rook b3, but a5 was available. So and if a3, then I have bishop e6. Yeah, bishop e6, bishop e3, and there, yeah, exchange sacrifice, which because of the bishop pair ay mas defendable kaysa dun sa enough compensation siya sa rook ng kalaban. So instead of that, what happened in the game ay nakainan ako ng pawn, and the advantage was given to white, and siguro because of after ng exchange ng rooks ay naging drawish na ulit, but after that series of moves ay in my siguro psychology ay na out of balance na yung wala na sa mood, or hindi ko alam yung explanation doon, pero hindi na tama yung hindi na tama yung strategy na ginagawa. So after na silent moves, we play this rook b1, and then we took our king away, and then after h5, trying to solidify our pawn chain dito sa king side, we place knight here, dahil we could have played capture and weaken his pawn structure, but here tinake natin yan because we want to preserve our bishop, light square bishop, and if we evade this ay makakapush siya, which is bad for our dahil it can promote. Ito kasing pawn na to is promoting pawn. Now we capture, and after here, yan, dito sa part na to ay alam ko na it can never promote because this pawn is, it's promoting square is light square, and his bishop is dark square. So sabi ko sa isip ko, it's a matter of time, pero this is drawish. So after this, sabi ko sa isip ko, this rook has may ideas pa to. Iniisip ko na if he plays rook c8, then magkakaroon siya ng access sa c7 and fork may pawn. But in this position, I made a blunder, and to prevent that from happening, I tinaas ko yung aking pawn. But that leads to my my bishop and pawn being forked. Even if I have bishop b5, meron siyang a6, but after capture ay nagkaroon ng mas malabo na depensa dito sa pag-push ng c5 pawn. So after that, this happened, and then before pushing ay pinotektahan niya muna yung kanyang rook, and then after this and that ay nagpush siya ng pawn. And here I was thinking na if I put my rook here, very deep hindi man deep calculation pero more on intuition na rin, ay makakapunta ang rook takes, and after bishop takes I have I am in time para protektahan yung promotion square, but I made a big mistake dahil I assumed that he will take with the bishop and I have time for protecting the c8 square, pero in this position he could have just promoted, and this was completely losing for me. So after that game, this was a loss for me. So yeah, that was the conclusion of the third game. Thank you.